You've probably heard by now about Rob O'Neill and the general that spoke about the Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk investigation and how they weren't convinced about the facts that were being presented and about the narrative in general. I gotta say that the truth seems to be starting to really build momentum. It's starting to come out, and it's undeniable. So for people that are just pushing this mainstream narrative that one person did this whole thing, it's really starting to look bad for them. I'm gonna go ahead and play it. It was reposted. Candace Owens reposted it, and she said, "I can't be the only one looking forward to Turning Point USA execs and resident goofus Blake Neff's response to this." And she goes on to say, "Think they'll call a SEAL Team 6 sniper a lying sociopath?" That seems to be the tactic that they use. They just kind of attack the people saying, asking any questions at all, and that's just not right. But I'm going to go ahead and start by playing this, and I'll skip certain parts, just try to get the important things.
Rob, you know what you're talking about. That's why we had you on. You know about ballistics. You shot bin Laden. What bothers you the most about this investigation?
I've been in a lot of shootings. I've killed more than a handful of people, and this thing looked shady off the bat. I mean, I've killed people closer than I saw the camera, and I've never seen a shirt move like that. That looks like an explosion to me. Just the fact that no one started doing first aid to Charlie Kirk, they were more concerned about getting SIM cards out of cameras, removing cameras, and then getting him off the X somehow. There didn't seem a lot of concern for his life. It seemed like just clean it up. And then, I mean, I've been told they paved it over a couple days later. And then you get Erica Kirk behind all the razzle dazzle, and she's really quick to forgive the alleged shooter, which technically says that was him because I forgive him, but that you can't forgive Candace Owens for having an opinion or asking questions. And they mock people by saying, "Oh, I'm just asking questions." Yeah, I'm a SEAL Team 6 sniper. I'm asking a lot of questions. No one wants to answer them.
And you're able to ask these questions because you've been there. General, same to you. So this rifle, this 30-06, it's a powerful rifle. What do you make of this narrative that the bullet might have hit Charlie's spine, which would explain why the damage wasn't what you would typically see with a rifle like that from that range?
No, that's not what happened. And this is the thing that hurts here is, and what bothers me the most out of it.
Wait, did you say, General, you don't think that's what happened?
Absolutely not. I'm with Rob. Something exploded on him. But we have enough training to know better than the garbage that was foisted upon us from the Justice Department that day, where they seemingly solved the case in about 8 hot seconds. And we know better. You're not going to take a 30-06 with a kid who's never killed anybody up onto a roof. He takes his first life and does all the things that Rob says he did. So what bothers me, Rob, in all of this is that they know that we know better, and yet they foist this as the narrative and the parable anyway.
You know, Lee Harvey Oswald, 1963 in Dallas, I think a lot of people never thought something like that could happen again, because now everybody's got a cell phone, everybody's got a camera, except for this day in September. In general, that's your opinion, and you're entitled to that.
Amazing. Honestly, that's very good coverage and good opinions, I think, there. Why are people so quick to believe the FBI narrative or the official narrative so quickly when we've seen time and time again where they come up with their own plan, and they in the Kennedy assassination and also in the Martin Luther King, this has happened before, and they're acting like, well, no, they would never lie to us. Yes, they would. Yes, they would. And if it suits their purpose, they would. And we should be asking questions. And anybody telling you not to ask questions or calling you names and trying to make you look bad or attacking you personally, they are not thinking clearly, or they're on the wrong side. Maybe they're too close to it emotionally. I've said that before. But this 30-06, that there was no exit wound, you can't get past that. You can't even get past the very first thing that they said it was a 30-06 going into his neck and not coming out the back. Is just not possible. It's not possible, and you can't get past that one thing. Not let alone the rest of the things that are out. There's so many things that don't make sense and that seem off, and we're asking questions about it. So that's what Rob O'Neill and this brigadier general is asking. And the more time that goes by and the more people that study this and become aware of the facts, the more it's going to come out that this is not right. Something is very, very wrong. We're going to see the truth come out eventually. It just seems like the pressure is building, like more and more things are happening and more people are speaking out now. It's not just Candace Owens and a few followers. So I want to also cover Frank Turek, and I think most people know who he is. And I just want to take a look at an interview that he had. I'll give you a little bit of background on Frank, and I'll show you some videos of when we first kind of saw him. But he was a spiritual advisor to Charlie Kirk and had been with him for a number of years before this happened. This is one of the videos from the day of the event, and Frank Turek is this person right here in the white. And he's got it looks like a white hat and a white shirt on. And this is right after they're carrying Charlie out to the SUV, which is right here. And his security team is all around him, and they're kind of going to throw Charlie in the back of the seat. But this SUV has 3 rows of seats. It has the front rows, then this middle door right here, which is the passenger seats, the second row, and then the back, we used to call it, but the very back, it's not really, I don't think it's a third row. It's just when you open the tailgate, there's a space there that we, as kids, we used to climb in there, and we called it the back, but that's kind of like the third row where it would be if there was a third row. I think that's just an open space there. And so Frank Turek is going to, the reason I'm focused on him today is that he's the only one that is not actually on the security team. He's not on Charlie Kirk's security team. And that's why I want to focus on him, because if we go with the idea that some people have had, just an opinion, it's nothing, nobody's accusing anything or anyone, but if, let's just say that his security team was involved in something, Frank Turek wouldn't have been part of that. So he would have tried to been kept on the outside of everything as much as possible. And him at the last second he's going to climb into the back of that SUV. And it tells me that they weren't planning on having him in that SUV if they were up to something. So you can kind of see it here. I'll start with this one and show you where he's kind of running around and it's a little frantic, but there's Frank. Okay, you just saw him just briefly there. Then on this one, you'll see him again from a different angle. This is Terrell Farnsworth's video that he released, and Frank, I believe, is right here. You'll see him run around to the back, and he'll run around to the passenger side and then back to the back as the lift is opening, and he jumps in. Okay. All right, watch him. He'll come. There he is. He's coming around. Can't get in there, so he presses the button on the lift. Starts running, but then it starts opening. So he jumps in there. Okay, he jumped in, and that tells me that they probably didn't plan on having him there if something weird was going on. Now, if something weird was going on, now I have to challenge Frank, because Frank is the whole time he's been going along with the story like he believes it. But judging on his reaction of when everything happened and all the videos that I've seen, Frank is the only one that acted reasonable. Like rational, like a normal person would in a situation like that. And Baron Coleman pointed this out too. Frank is probably the only person that just was acting like a normal person would act on that day, and I totally agree with that. But Frank was in the SUV, and he supposedly witnessed everything. I want to look at his interview that he did not too long ago with Calissa Childers, sorry. And where he's, questioning the conspiracy theorists, I guess, quote unquote. And he wants to know what it's going to take for people that are asking questions to believe the official narrative. It's a kind of unbelievable that he's saying that, because they were the ones, and they know that the COVID was a lie, and that there were so many problems with things, even just in recent years, even that Charlie Kirk had a problem with. And yet he's still just perfectly 100% ready to swallow this pill, that Tyler Robinson did it by himself. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that more people aren't asking questions, including him, because if there was a plan, a coordinated effort to take Charlie out, I don't think Frank was part of it. I honestly don't. And I'll just kind of go through a couple things to show you what I'm talking about. Here he is kind of confirming what I said. I'll play it.
Yeah.
Right.
look, I'm the only one in the car that's not on security. I'm the only, while I was in the Navy years ago, I haven't done.
Okay, so he's just saying I wasn't part of the security team. So okay, that's true. So then Calissa asks, well, what if you're wrong to us, to people that are, she calls them conspiracy theorists, but I call them people that are asking questions. Maybe not all of them, maybe some are conspiracy theorists, I don't know, but people that ask questions are not necessarily conspiracy theorists.
Speculations that are coming from the Candace Owens platform. I would just like to invite you to ask yourself, what if you're wrong? What if you're wrong?
Okay, I want to ask you, what if you're wrong? Have you stopped to consider that for a second? Because both of you guys, you and Frank are so close emotionally to this situation. Isn't it possible that you might be looking at this thing wrong? That you might be the one that's wrong? Yes, I think everyone should ask themselves that question. I've asked myself that question many times, and weird things just keep popping up over and over and over again. So I'm asking you, what if you're wrong? And more specifically to Frank, because Frank was in the back of the SUV when all this was going down. So not necessarily asking Calissa, she's just going on what she was told, but Frank actually saw what was going on. He was in the back of the car. So, Frank, if you can just find it within yourself for a second to get past your hatred for Candace and just ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? What did you see? What did you see in the back of that SUV? You're the only witness. If there was a coordinated effort, you're the only witness to something that happened and you could shed a lot of light on this if you wanted to. Did you see anything that was out of the ordinary? Did you hear anything? Did you smell anything that shouldn't have been a smell, like something burning maybe, or gunpowder, excessive gunpowder, maybe not like that of a bullet, but something else? Did you anything like that? Did someone say something that struck you as odd? I mean, I know you'd be terrified to say anything, because if you did, then everyone's going to look at you like you're a traitor. I understand that. I get it. I'm not even asking that you come out and say anything, really. I'm just saying, ask yourself, in 20, 30, 40 years, are you still going to look back on this and you don't have any questions as to what happened? You don't wonder how the bullet of a 30-06 didn't come out the back of his neck? You don't have a question on that? Not even one? People have photos, I have them here actually, of the shards that are in the back of the SUV, which you spoke about in here. Let me find it. Let's see. Okay, shards of glass here.
And then there's another thing about shards of glass. People are saying there are shards of glass. I don't remember any shards of glass in that car.
Okay, let me help you. Okay, there's photos of the second row, not the third row, not the backpack, but the second row on the floor, I believe, is what this is. And here's clear photos of something that shattered in the back, in the passenger row, I should say. So does that help you? Or here's another one of an even closer one of something where black shards of something are flying out while Charlie's still holding the microphone. This is kind of while this happened, and it's right there. So, Frank, have you seen the photos of the glass in the back, and does it remind you of anything? And again, I would ask, did you smell anything weird in there, or did you hear anything or see anything that might jog your memory a little bit? It was a traumatic event and everyone was caught up in the moment at the time. That's why you need time later to reflect on this and think, did something happen maybe that I saw, heard, smelled, or thought at the time? Maybe it wasn't right and I just didn't think anything of it because it was an emergency. But maybe now looking back on it, it shouldn't have been that way. So I would ask you to ask yourself that question.
I would ask the question, what evidence would you need to see to have you conclude that Tyler Robinson really killed Charlie Kirk? What evidence?
That's a good question. What evidence would I need to see? Well, I know you're talking to Candace when you say that, but I'm just going to answer it the way I see it. The evidence that I would need to see would be more than this grainy footage, even in 4K. That's not enough. And this is what Benny Johnson and Jack Posobiec came out and said. They witnessed this in 4K. Well, maybe they did, but you still can't tell who that is. And there's no connection between that and the videos of Tyler walking around on campus. So, put the timestamps on everything and come clean about it. Don't fool around and play this trickery with video and photos and things. It just stinks of a cover up. And, it's reminiscent of Kennedy, like I said, and MLK. That's something that would convince me if I saw that. Also, if I saw, this is how it looks when Charlie normally had the video camera behind him. This is the video. Like, you can see all around him. You can see the floor around him, all of his body, the chair that he's sitting on, and even far back behind. This is wide angle, high definition from behind. And it's 3 different events here, all of them the same. But guess what? The day of the event where Charlie was taken out, this is what we get. We get a zoomed in photo, or video, I should say. It's a video. We get a zoomed in video of Charlie. Half the chair, all this on the ground is missing. All on the sides of him is missing. This is clearly cropped. I crop videos daily. I know exactly what this is. This is zoomed in and cropped. And whoever released this video is trying to hide something. So if you want to know what it would take to convince me, release the unaltered, unedited video. Do that. That'll convince me. All right. And going on, when you're talking about Tyler Robinson and his confession and his parents turning him in and all that, those are talking points. And it's not the way that you're making it seem.
Relates to this murder. And if Tyler Robinson did not have anything to do with this, why did his parents turn him in? Why did he turn himself in? Why is the judge keeping him locked up? Is everybody involved in this conspiracy? For what reason?
I don't think everybody's involved, but I think there are people involved. And it's not a matter of everyone being involved, just key players in certain parts. And then other people like yourself who might have even been a part of this whole thing, and you don't even know it. You can't even ask yourself questions that are subjective. You can't even be objective. You can't even be objective in your opinion and in your questions to yourself. So, no, I don't think everybody was involved, but I think Tyler was involved somehow, and he was part of this whole thing, as I think also Hunter Kozak was probably involved, and Destiny, and who else? George Zinn. Plenty of people, I think, might have been involved in something going on that day. That doesn't mean that there's a conspiracy going to the top, all the way up to the top. But it might mean that there is a coordinated effort. And I haven't seen any indication that Tyler has confessed anything except for Lance Twig's confirmation, and he didn't win any points with me. So I don't believe that. I need that. That would also go a long way in convincing me. Another thing that Frank said that I really didn't realize was that the University of Utah was doing an investigation, its own investigation on this. And I guess I just hadn't paid attention, or I didn't know that.
And the text I saw the day of the murder from Dan, one of Charlie's security team, was the police saying, "We got the roofs."
Wow. So is there any investigation happening there about what happened with that? Or
yes, there is. It's about to be released. I don't know if it's been released yet, but in talking to folks there at TPUSA who are following this, they said, yes, there's been an investigation, and at any point that investigation is going to be released. It's being done by the university itself, and we'll see what happens when it comes out. But I won't pass comment on it until I see it, but I'd be concerned about that report to see if it's really honest.
Mm-hmm.
So the University of Utah is actually doing an investigation on this, and I didn't see where it had been released yet, but I will be keeping an eye out for that. So that was interesting, and I didn't know that, so I thought I'd include that in this video. And here's another video of them talking about that investigation. I'll play a little bit of it.
It's faster than the review itself.
It has been almost a year, and we are still waiting for the results of an investigation into what led up to Charlie Kirk's assassination on the campus of Utah Valley University. Thanks for watching 2 News at 6 o'clock. Not done. 10 months and counting. A review unfinished of the UVU police actions and security the day Charlie Kirk was murdered. Brian Malahy is joining us live over at...
All right. So anyway, this just talks about the investigation and what we pretty much already know, but they are doing their own investigation. So this was by KU TV, Channel 2, local channel there in Utah. And so I'll be keeping a watch out for that. And anyway, I wanted to point this out because Frank Turek is very interesting to me. And I believe that he has answers that he probably doesn't realize that he has. I don't for a second think that he's involved in anything. I just don't. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I think anyone has the ability to look at a situation and get a gut feeling as to whether something's right or off. I don't get that with Frank. I think he's being honest, but I think he's also being very naive in some ways. And he's forgetting about all the times that the government has lied to us, and even recently. And as Charlie and Trump have both pointed out in recent times, that, we've got to ask questions of the government. We have to be vigilant, and we have to ask questions. So that's what I'm doing. And Frank, I encourage you to do the same. I don't know if you'll ever see this video, but I hope that you do. And I hope you see this and maybe it makes you think a little bit about what happened. So that's it for me today. And I appreciate everyone tuning in today. And if you like the video, give me a like, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll be making a lot more content very soon. And I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.